Welcome to this edition of Miles Ahead, where you join us in a car park in Woking to look at this, the Audi e-tron S. So Audi, like everyone else of course, is going down the fully electric route, and I think this car represents a pretty significant step in the right direction for them, because people like SUVs, people like comfy SUVs, people like fast comfy SUVs, and this is a fast comfy electric SUV. So for the more environmentally conscious, this works. Starts at £86,960, so it's not cheap. This does have a few options on it which bring the price to £96,000. So we'll have a look round now. The first option we come to is this Catalunya red paint. That's 750 quid. I quite like it. I wasn't sure at first, but it has grown on me. We'll have a quick look in here as well. So because it's battery, obviously there's no engine, so Audi have put the charging cables for you in the front there, so nice, easy and accessible. And whilst we're at the front, these headlights, the digital matrix LED lights, they're £3,170, these as an optional extra, but they are absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, we're in the English summer at the moment, so the days are quite long, so I've not really given them a run out, which is a shame because they're the most expensive option on here. But you know, if you're driving in winter and all that sort of stuff, I'm sure they're great. These wheels as well, they're 21-inch, these are the Y-spoke ones, they're £725, and as you can see through there, these brakes, they're rather big because this car weighs the best part of 2.7 tonnes, so they have a bit of work to do, which they do very well, but again we'll touch upon that on the drive along. You charge the car here. The flap opens, presents itself. So the driver's side is for the fast charging, so you can do the combo charging at charging stations, and on the other side there's one with just the single port in for slower charging at home. So the privacy glass comes as standard with this, and we'll just have a quick look in the back while we're here. Yeah, there's loads of room in here, plenty of headspace in here, you're not shy of anything, loads of legroom. The driver's seat's actually in the exit position at the moment, so loads of space, 2 USB-C chargers and a 12-volt battery down there, armrest, isofix, all that in there, very comfortable back there, so yeah, you wouldn't suffer on a long journey right there. As we come to the back, you know, unmistakably Audi at the rear, and actually I quite like this about the e-tron, is it doesn't look like an electric car, it just looks like a natural extension of Audi's range. They've not tried to be too quirky or too different with the electric one, so it blends in quite seamlessly, and I quite like that. It's I think it's quite an important step, because I think, you know, obviously some of the new entrants, they've had to do their own thing, different styling, but Audi are sticking to what's worked for them. And as you can see, this boot is massive, about 600 litres of space in there. We've just run it down to Cornwall for a week's family holiday and got everything in there. The charging was actually really simple as well. We'll touch upon that a bit more on the drive along, but yeah, let's see what it's like inside now. So this is the driver's seat of the Audi e-tron S, and as it looks like an Audi on the outside, it looks like an Audi on the inside as well, which is good news, because the Audi cockpits, I really like them. There's a real familiarity to this setup, which is really good. They've not tried to go in a different direction with this. They've just continued doing what they do excellently, which is good. So the sports seats come as standard. These are really comfortable. No complaints there. They've got the heated seats and all that sort of thing. I'm sure that works. Wrong time of year for trying that out. But everything else in here is really well laid out. There's loads of storage space because there's no gear tunnelling and all that sort of thing. So there's a couple of cup holders down there and that sort of thing, and there's a wireless charging port in there. Now the gear selector is a little bit different on this, so to put it into reverse, so you hold it down, flick it up, and then you get the nice reversing cameras, and it's also got really good 3D function as well, so you can place the car on there. Yeah, so you know, that's really good, really easy to use. And then to flick it into D, you do that down there, and if you want to put it into sport, not a flick on that. And that opens up the boost gauge on there, so you get a little bit of extra power for when you need it. I think that runs for like 4 or 5 seconds, so this car will do 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. So you stick it to efficiency, launch it, it will use the boost. Probably a very good way of draining your battery pretty quickly. Just press that again for P and we're all good. So the lane keep assist, you can turn that off here. I've struggled to turn that off in other Audis. There is just a button on the end of the stalk there, because the lane keep assist is a real weak spot in this car. I think it's just not very good. Yeah, driving down the motorways, like on the way to Cornwall, the A303, you're going from 2 lanes into 1 quite a lot, and it kept on picking up the lanes, and you'd feel the steering wheel makes quite a violent movement in your hand, and it was confusing itself when the road was opening up and closing again. And it was yeah, so I consulted the owner's manual, and yeah, just press that button, easy enough to turn off, which is good. You have to do it every time you get in, but I mean, that's no great hardship, but you will want to turn it off because it's not very good. But I mean, other than that, I mean, that's pretty much any weak spot. I like the steering wheel on this. The buttons aren't too big, so I haven't found myself accidentally touching them like I have done with some of the other Audis. I think I did a little bit with the Audi RSQ8. You can check out the review of that on the channel. Buttons were just a little bit too big and close to the Alcantara line steering wheel, where these are just a bit better laid out, and it's really easy to cycle through all your options up here, and the maps and everything else work really well, and it's just nice and clear. Obviously you've got it's got wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto you have to plug in for, but I mean, the sat-nav that you get as standard in this is really good. So yeah, classically Audi interior. The other thing to mention is the panoramic glass sunroof. So that is a £1,495 extra. I mean, I really like it. I do like a panoramic roof. It's really good. And the other internal extra is the comfort and sound pack that this comes with. I think that's £1,890 there or thereabouts. But that gets you the upgraded Bang & Olufsen premium audio for Audi, and yeah, I mean, if you like listening to music, it is really, really good. So definitely a box worth thinking about ticking if you're having a serious look at one of these. And the other option, this carbon fibre twill inlay, 450 quid. I think it's a little bit too similar to the interior that they've decked this out in, but I mean, you know, other options are available. So yeah, all in all, classically Audi, really comfortable. You know the score in here. I really, really like it. So let's see what it's like to drive. So what's the Audi e-tron S like out on the road? Let's start with that engine noise. Oh, of course there isn't any, but it is really fast. We are heading to the horizon at quite a speed. Like I mentioned, it does 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, which is faintly ridiculous for a 2.7 tonne car. And obviously, it being electric, you get 100% torque delivery as soon as you plant your right foot, and it is just everything gets thrown, but you probably hear stuff flying around in the back. It's hugely impressive, this car, actually, I must say, and one of the issues is the range, so we'll talk about that now. So it's up to 221 miles. You're not getting that, it's more like 190. So I have done 672.4 miles in this at the moment, and have averaged 2.3 miles per kilowatt hour. It's 85 kilowatt hour usable battery, so that works out at 195.5 miles, I think, the range. So it's there or thereabouts, it's not 220 odd. So like I said, we drove it down to Cornwall and back, and I must admit I did have a bit of range anxiety before undertaking that trip, so did have to do a bit of research, but did find the stops, and actually it was easy enough. We used Instavolt chargers, Osprey and Genie Point, I think, are the other ones, all 50 kilowatt hours. Stop, have a coffee, bit of lunch or breakfast, whatever time of day it is, and leave it for 45 minutes to an hour, and you get enough range to take you to the next charging station. And actually it was a lot more straightforward than I had originally anticipated it being, so that was good. Yeah, nice, easy, hassle free. And on the motorway, this car is exceptional. I mean, it's so quiet because there's no motor, but there must be all sorts of sound deadening trickery going on in here, because it just, at 70 miles an hour, it just wafts along. And another nice thing about this, because it doesn't have the outright one pedal driving that other electric cars do, it just coasts. And because it's 2.7 tonnes, once it's got a bit of momentum, it will just keep on rolling and rolling and rolling. So it's nice and easy to use in that respect. And so when you've got it in efficiency, you know, you eke out a bit more range and all that sort of thing, and it's really good. So it's got 2 paddles on the back here, which you can just about see in the video. So you pull that and it gives a bit of regenerative braking, pull it again and it's a bit harsher, but I mean, it's still not pulling us to standstill, and you use the paddle on the other side to slacken that off, and you just go back to coasting. So when you're in that motorway scenario, and because this thing is so heavy and it keeps on flying downhill even when it's in the coast mode, just pulling that pedal, it's quite a nice, it's almost like a computer game way of just keeping pace with the traffic in front without, you know, going into the back of anyone. So it makes it nice and easy to use as well. It's just really comfortable cabin, and you know, I've been really impressed with it. I mean, there is a slight juxtaposition with the range versus having the S. So because this is the S, it's the faster version, that does eat up some of your range. So been a bit weird in some respects driving it down to Cornwall. We've just been tickling it along in efficiency mode to maximise the range and minimise the stops. So you think, well, spending all this money, it's a £96,000 car, you want to drive it fast, and yeah, there is a bit of a perhaps an unnecessary compromise in there. If you get the lower down model, not the S, I think they do the 55 e-tron, you get more range. You don't get the same performance, but you get more range, and with these things that does matter. But I think if you get bogged down on that point, I think that obfuscates what this car represents. And I mean, this is the future of electric cars. I mean, as a car, this is superb, and that's without mentioning it as an electric car. Some of the other ones, they are compromised in many respects, because they are expensive, because the battery technology is a lot, and then you're not quite getting your money's worth. I think we mentioned that with the Jeep Renegade 4xe we had a few videos ago. I mean, I like the car, but it was £40,000 because it's the hybrid, so you're paying for the battery, and it's like you're not getting £40,000 worth of car. Whereas in this, I think it's getting closer to representing value for money. I know, yeah, that sounds crazy, a car that's £96,000. But it is really, really good. It's really nice, lovely to drive, and all that sort of thing. I think the problem Audi have got is the enemy lurks within. Because it's £96,000, you're encroaching on RS6 money, and you'll have the rest of your life to drive electric cars. You won't have the rest of your life to drive Audi RS6s and that 4-litre twin turbocharged V8, and it's just a masterpiece of a car. We reviewed that a few videos ago. Go and check it out. Or you could have the Audi RS Q8 or the Audi RS7. You're playing in a similar financial ballpark with this, and that is the thing. You are still allowed to buy these petrol cars, and Audi will still sell you an RS6, and it is superb. This is great. I really, really like this car. But you can still get those petrol engine cars, and I just think that when you still can, and if you're lucky enough to be shopping in that market, then that's got to be the serious consideration. But I mean, this represents such a huge step in the right direction, I think, for electric cars. I mean, I think for car reviews and that sort of stuff, I can see why some people might have found it a little bit dull. But if you're, not a car reviewer, you're buying a car that you're going to use every day, and you've got a charging point at home and all that sort of stuff, then this just works flawlessly. I mean, it is a really, really impressive bit of kit. And not just for an electric car, it's an impressive car in its own right. And that is what Audi have aimed to do, and that's what they have achieved in this. And it is barnstormingly fast. But yeah, I think if you've got £96,000 and you're looking at that, the RS6 is just so good, so good. I fell a little bit in love with that car, and the RS7 was great as well, and I really like the RS Q8 too. I think this is fantastic, but I think at the price point at £96,000, the enemy lurks within with Audi in that respect, in that they still do, well, the best estate car in the world, and the RS7 and RS Q8 are brilliant. This is great, and this technology is only going to get better. Battery technology is only going to go in one direction. The range will improve over time. So I'd imagine the next generation e-tron S is going to be great, and all the rest. But I mean, this has just worked so good. Using it as a family car for the week to go on holiday in, it's just been brilliant, and it's just so relaxing to drive as well. Those normally stressful motorway drives, it just has not been the case in this at all. It has been effortless to drive, and yeah, I mean, I'm prattling on a bit now. I've been really, really impressed with this, and this is the best electric car I've driven so far. And if this is the direction of travel for electric cars in the future, then I mean, they're going to absolutely nail the mark with the target market in these things. Like I said at the top, people like fast, comfortable SUVs. This is a fast, comfortable SUV, without mentioning that it is also an EV. So yeah, I'm just really excited to see what direction Audi go in with the next generation ones of these. But yeah, if you're looking for a fast, comfortable electric SUV, then no reason why not stick this at the top of your list. Been really, really impressed with it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like it if you did. Please subscribe to the channel as well. Then you can watch the rest of my ramblings on other vehicles as well. So what is coming up on the channel? We've got an Aston Martin DBS and an Aston Martin DBX. So looking forward to those. We've got Polestar 1, we've got Ferrari Roma, and we've got Caterham 620. Is it 610? 620? 610. Yeah, we've got that coming up as well. Yeah, please like, subscribe. I will remember the names of the cars in time for filming those videos. So hopefully see you soon. Thanks.